There's probably a million cars more suited to live in than this Land Rover, but I couldn't really see myself living in your typical camper van. I was initially only planning to do this for a year, so it made sense to build something that I actually would enjoy traveling in. The size of the car is kinda a giveaway. This build is not suited to actually live a normal life in. I built this to get me to new places, and it's providing us a shelter when it's needed. Most of the time I spend traveling in Norway, where the winter is currently at its peak, and I'm going to show you more of that in a minute. To switch it up, I headed south for a week, but not even far enough to leave Scandinavia. The winter season at the coast of Denmark can be extremely windy. Enough wind in fact to have sand dunes immigrating thousands of meters inland. The ever-corroding shoreline is open for traffic at a major part of the west coast. Obviously more crowded during summer, but completely empty the week I had there, apart from a few locals. The Discovery really belongs in a scenery like this. Most of us buying cars like this will never actually put them through what they're made for. During the Camel Trophy back in the 80s and 90s, the mostly stock Discoveries was driving through the toughest terrains in the whole world. Nothing I do is really extreme when it comes to pushing the limits of things. But after leaving production 8 years ago, this specific car has driven 260,000 kilometers through the Nordic countries. And there is more to come this year. Instead of driving all the way down, I saved both fuel and time by taking a ferry to Hirtshals in Denmark, as well as being the off-season at the beach down there. It's not really the most popular time of the year for traveling, which fits perfect for what I'm doing this week. Growing up, I only recall hearing about the fact that Denmark was flat, with the highest point not even reaching 200 meters, but I should have been told how it actually looks down here. It is indeed flat compared to Norway, but the landscapes they do have here is something completely different. Calm and sunny right now, but there is a reason why these sand dunes just keeps on crawling further inland. The wind coming from the sea is constantly hitting the shore, and every now and then with massive force. The wind has actually demolished the houses that used to surround this lighthouse, and a few years back they had to physically move the tower on tracks 80 meters away from the coast due to the edge finally coming too close. On some of the more windy days I had, the water was pushed ashore, leaving only a small part of the beach drivable, even during low tide. Along the entire beach there's freshwater streams running into the ocean, and every time you cross one, the chance of meeting anyone else just becomes lower. It's mostly grass and sand along the entire shoreline, but there is still a huge variation in how the wind and water has shaped it. There is big sand dunes formed by the wind over time, kinda similar to the snow dunes that you will find back at the highlands in Norway. Driving at the beach here is legal, but driving in the dunes is not, and protecting these grass hills is actually slowing down the immigration of sand. These landscapes look similar in the summer, but with less people here in the winter, everything looks untouched, without a single footprint in the sand. Driving up a long stretch of the shore when the beach was flooded by the wind, I was met with something unexpected. Some of the streams crossing the beach is deeper than the rest of them, and with a strong current filled with sand and clay, you wouldn't want to drive through that. So there are small bridges over some of these. But upon reaching one of them, the whole river had taken a different route, burying what used to be the river only a couple of days before. During the calmer days, I couldn't really picture myself how the dunes were moving, and rivers changing directions, and entire mountains of sand collapsing. But being here throughout the stormy days, you could actually see everything change in real time. After days and days with sand, clay, salt and water, the car started to get quite dirty. But when I'm out driving like this, it does fit the scene. I myself can easily get a shower at the campground or gym, or even take a dip in the ocean. But giving the car a proper deep cleaning, I prefer to do before and after the trip instead. And it might sound like a character break when you find out how many hours I end up cleaning the car once I first get started. And talking about this goes hand in hand with the sponsor of this video, Purists. I've actually spent a huge amount of hours cleaning cars. Not only do I spend a lot of time making sure the car that I own is clean, but I've also had cleaning cars as a part-time job before. Because I'm always on the go, I don't always have the facilities to keep the car clean. Therefore, to protect the paint from the salted roads and dirt, I need to do all the preventative work I can whenever I get it cleaned. Purist is made in Sweden, so they face the same challenges as my car does. For example, the salted roads that will corrode anything it comes in contact with. Which means that you can easily tell the difference between the cars that has been well maintained and the ones that have not. But it's not like I protect the car because of the resale value, because I'm most likely the last person to ever own this car. And that just means that all the maintenance that I do is just a favor to myself. So do yourself a favor and check out Purist in the link below. With the North Sea in the background, Denmark's beaches is an actual museum you can drive right through. Ever since the 40s, these bunkers has been left mostly untouched by humans. Originally placed on the grass-covered hills, but later on ending up at the beach as the shore just keeps on moving. And some of them has already been buried by the sand. We do in fact have the same bunkers along the Norwegian coast. But with a rocky coastline, we're standing solid. But some parts of the Danish coast is at least made out of limestone, And at these hills, you'll find the bunkers that still has the same view as they once had. The most interesting thing is how you don't need to study anything or actively look for this piece of history. You can be walking your dog at the beach and be in the middle of something that most people just never think about. And I think that's a great reminder, instead of tearing down and cancelling anything negative from the past. A reminder to appreciate how lucky you are if you're located somewhere as peaceful as this. It's obviously okay to worry about things no matter where we live. But no matter what's going on, at least you're free to do whatever makes you happy here. Apart from the massive concrete blocks left behind, there isn't that much sea waste here. But it's not because it isn't present, because the wind and currents wash up things from all over the world. But at least the locals care. It's not rare that you will see people picking up random debris during a normal hike. And there's even specific bins all over the place. Not to be used for your own trash, but sea waste.
Leaving all my worries, I prepare for something new. Whatever it was that held me back, I'm sure it wasn't true. Holding on too long and unresolved questions hold you down. What could have been a friendly smile has turned into a frown. I'm moving on and on. On and on. I'm moving on and on. On and on. I'm driving in my car, the road is long and full of dust. The landscape changes around me, on and on, I feel immersed. Whatever happened to me happened for my highest good. I read that in so many books, now it's almost understood. I'm moving on and on. On and on. I'm moving on and on. On and on. Seagulls fly around the beach house that I rented for a while. You can try to find my number or my FBI file. Sweet is my location, sweet as well my destination. If you're looking to begin, then look no further than within. I'm satisfied with what I've got and still eager for more. The change that you've been looking for will come knock on your door. On and on.
Winter at a beach is a weird mix. It looks tropical in one way, but it also looks unnaturally deserted. It's obviously not that many people around because it's not that pleasant during winter. But the people you do meet are there for the same reason. I met surfers running towards the cold water, ready to catch the first waves in the morning. And old people walking down the beach a Sunday morning, just to see how the sunrise was looking that day. But it's not like Denmark is all sand dunes and waves. It's full of small towns and some bigger cities as well. But I never really traveled to places like this to see that. I just want to see what these places have in store when it comes to nature. And that's basically why I ended up living in this car, instead of a van or something a bit more practical. I wanted to be able to travel all over the country, without drawing attention to it actually being a camper. I wanted to be able to park wherever I felt like, and just rest for the night. Go to places I want to photograph, early in the morning or late at night. A sunny evening, or a stormy afternoon. doing this on and off for 4 years now, and with a bunch of different sources of income. And I think that's what I'm going to talk about in the next one, because I'm actually cutting this video together on a train ride back to Oslo for work. And I've left the car behind at the west coast of Norway. The scenery I will take you through next time.